They were once the names at the top of Hollywood, where the spotlight shone brightly and millions of fans chanted their names every day. But in the blink of an eye, everything collapsed. A small mistake, a scandal, or even just a wrong decision at the wrong time, all of this was enough to turn a star into a forgotten shadow. Some disappeared completely from the screen, some lost the careers they had built over decades, and some never had a chance to return. What really happened behind that glamour? And did they destroy their own careers, or did an entire system turn its back on them? Today, we will look back at the most controversial stories of actors who once stood at the peak of their careers and then unexpectedly fell to the bottom. If you find these stories behind the glamour fascinating and want to know more little-known secrets of Hollywood, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Gary Busey's case is a story intertwined with talent, personal setbacks, and prolonged controversies, leaving many unsure whether to call it self-destruction or a series of tragedies. He was once nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor for his impressive performance in the Buddy Holly story, a milestone that showed his formidable acting abilities and the high expectations placed upon him in Hollywood. But then his life took a dramatic turn after a serious accident. In 1988, Gary Busey was involved in a motorcycle accident that resulted in a severe head injury. Many believe that after this incident, his behavior and personality changed significantly. He began to appear with strange statements and actions, making his public image increasingly unpredictable and controversial. Furthermore, in recent years, he has been embroiled in allegations of inappropriate behavior, further damaging his reputation. Gary Busey's career didn't completely disappear, but it clearly wasn't on the trajectory it could have reached. From an Oscar-nominated actor, he gradually became more of a figure of curiosity than one recognized for his acting. What makes this story special is that not every downfall begins with a wrong choice sometimes. An unforeseen event can change both a person and their career. Gary Busey not only lost his status, but also became a reminder of the fragility between the peak and the abyss in the entertainment world. When discussing self-destructive careers, Jennifer Grey's name always sparks debate. She was once an icon for an entire generation after the resounding success of Dirty Dancing, a film that propelled Jennifer Grey to stardom overnight. Her natural beauty, unmistakable features, and explosive chemistry with Patrick Swayze made her a national crush at the time. But then a seemingly harmless decision changed everything. Jennifer Grey underwent rhinoplasty, and the result was the near disappearance of her signature features. She herself admitted that after the surgery, audiences could barely recognize her anymore, in an industry where recognition is everything. That was almost the end. From an A-list star, Jennifer Grey gradually disappeared from major roles. Opportunities no longer came her way, and the career she had built inexplicably stalled. So, is this a classic case of self-destruction? Or is Hollywood simply too harsh on physical transformations? Jennifer Grey's story isn't just about a surgery, it's a reminder that, in the entertainment world, sometimes even a small change can cost an entire career. If Jennifer Grey's story is about a quiet decision, Michael Richards' case was a public and highly controversial collapse. He was once the soul of Seinfeld as Cosmo Kramer, an eccentric, hilarious character who became a pop culture icon. At the time, Michael Richards was almost irreplaceable in the sitcom world. But then, in 2006, everything changed overnight. During a stand-up performance, he lost control and uttered racist remarks directed at the audience. The video went viral online, sparking public outrage and widespread media condemnation. Although he later apologized publicly and even appeared on David Letterman's show to express his remorse, the damage was too great. Hollywood virtually turned its back on him, projects disappeared, and his career never returned to its former peak. This is a prime example of how not every scandal can be whitewashed. There are moments when a single loss of control is enough to wipe out an entire legacy. The question is, did Michael Richards deserve such a career death sentence? Or is this proof of the unforgiving power of the public? When it comes to self-destructing one's public image, Paula Deen's story is a highly controversial example in the entertainment industry, even though she's not a traditional actress. Paula Deen was once the queen of Southern cuisine on Food Network, with a friendly, cheerful image and a business empire spanning television shows, restaurants, and cookbooks. But it all began to crumble in 2013. In a lawsuit related to discrimination, Paula Deen admitted to using racist language in the past. This information immediately exploded in the media. Public outrage ensued, major partners terminated their contracts en masse. And Food Network quickly ended its partnership with her. In a short time, an empire built over decades nearly collapsed. Her previously friendly image was replaced by controversy and criticism. Although Paula Deen has apologized repeatedly and tried to make a comeback, her reputation has never fully recovered. Paula Deen's story raises a big question. Should the past completely define a person in the present? Or is this proof that the public is becoming increasingly intolerant of mistakes related to sensitive issues? Regardless of the perspective, it's clear that just one moment can change the course of an entire career forever. The story of Cuba Gooding Jr. is an example that makes many people question. How could someone who once reached the pinnacle of success lose it all so quickly? He won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his breakout role in Jerry Maguire, a moment that brought Hollywood to its feet as a testament to his talent. With his powerful energy and unique personality, Cuba Gooding Jr. was expected to become one of the leading stars for the long term. But after that initial success, his career began to decline. A series of poor film choices caused his popularity to wane. From major roles, he moved on to less prestigious projects, even earning the label of an Oscar-winning actor who's no longer in form. And then legal troubles arose, further damaging his public image. Allegations of inappropriate conduct sparked a wave of criticism, effectively closing the door on his return to Hollywood. What makes this story controversial is, did Cuba Gooding Jr. lose his career due to poor choices, or was he simply unable to maintain his momentum after reaching such a high point? Whatever the answer, this is clear evidence that a one-time victory doesn't guarantee a career, and sometimes the fall after reaching the peak is far more painful. Armie Hammer's story is perhaps one of the most shocking freefalls in Hollywood in recent years. He was once considered the perfect star. Good looks, a distinguished family background, and a series of impressive roles in The Social Network, and especially Call Me by Your Name, a film that propelled his career to stardom and earned him high praise for his acting. But then it all collapsed almost in a matter of weeks. In 2021, a series of private messages were leaked online, containing shocking content related to extreme sexual fantasies. Immediately afterward, many women came forward accusing him of abuse and controlling behavior in their relationships. Although some accusations did not lead to criminal prosecution, the public outcry was intense. The result: Armie Hammer was dropped from numerous major projects, his management company terminated his contract, and he virtually disappeared from Hollywood. The image of the perfect gentleman was replaced by one of the strangest and most controversial scandals in the entertainment industry. What makes this story complicated is the line between private life and public image. Should what happens in personal relationships completely destroy an actor's career? Or is this the inevitable consequence when controversial behavior is exposed? Whichever side you take, there's no denying it. In a very short time, Armie Hammer went from the height of fame to almost nothing. Brandy Norwood's case is a more complex story, not entirely self-destructive, but enough to significantly derail her career. Brandy was one of the brightest young stars of the late 1990s. She was successful not only in music, but also made her mark in the sitcom Moshe and especially her role as Cinderella in an iconic version with a diverse cast. Everything seemed perfect until 2006. Brandy was involved in a serious car accident in Los Angeles, resulting in one fatality. Although she was not ultimately prosecuted, the incident still caused a public uproar. Media pressure, civil lawsuits, and feelings of guilt severely impacted her image and mental state. Afterward, Brandy's career didn't completely collapse, but it was clearly no longer at its peak. Major projects became scarce, and it took her years to gradually regain her footing in the entertainment industry. What makes this story controversial is, was it truly a personal mistake, or an unintentional tragedy that was judged too harshly by the public? Brandy Norwood didn't disappear, but that crash left a lasting mark. A reminder that sometimes just one unintentional moment can change the trajectory of a career. Jussie Smollett's story is perhaps one of the most controversial and unbelievable scandals in modern Hollywood. He was once a familiar face in the hit series Empire, portraying a talented artist who represented the voices of minority and LGBTQ communities. His career was on the rise, and his future seemed bright. But then in 2019, everything took a complete turn. Jussie Smollett reported being attacked in a hate crime in Chicago. Initially, he received widespread public and celebrity support. However, after a period of investigation, police alleged that the entire incident was staged. This information caused a massive public backlash. Smollett was charged with making false statements and subsequently convicted in connection with this act. His career nearly came to a standstill. He was dropped from Empire, lost major opportunities, and became the target of global criticism. What makes this story so deeply controversial is the severity of the action, more than just a personal scandal. Many believe the incident damaged trust in the true victims of hate crimes. Was this an impulsive mistake, or a calculated decision that went too far? However you look at it, it's clear that just one action cost Jussie Smollett almost his entire career. David Hasselhoff's case wasn't a complete fall, but rather a journey from the heights to ridicule, leaving many both regretful and debating. He was once one of the most famous faces in television, associated with Knight Rider, and especially Baywatch, the globally acclaimed series that propelled him to pop icon status. At his peak, David Hasselhoff was not just an actor but a cultural phenomenon. However, that image was gradually overshadowed by his troubled personal life. One of the most shocking moments was a video circulating online showing him drunk and out of control, recorded by his family, with the intention of warning him. This video quickly became a subject of ridicule, severely damaging his public image. Although he didn't completely disappear from the entertainment industry, David Hasselhoff, once a top-tier star, gradually became a nostalgic figure, even viewed more as a cultural meme than a top-tier actor as before. What makes this story thought-provoking is that a career doesn't always collapse because of a major scandal sometimes. It's prolonged personal issues that subtly erode one's public image. David Hasselhoff didn't lose everything, but he lost a status that very few have ever achieved. And sometimes, that's the hardest thing to regain. Will Smith's story is clear proof that sometimes, just one moment can shake an image built over decades. He was once Hollywood's most beloved man, with a career spanning from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to blockbusters like Men in Black and The Pursuit of Happiness. Will Smith's image was always associated with friendliness, humor, and positivity, almost completely scandal-free. And then the 2022 Academy Awards changed everything. On stage, in front of millions of viewers worldwide, Will Smith stepped up and slapped Chris Rock after a joke about his wife. This moment immediately became one of the most shocking images in Oscar history. Although he later publicly apologized and even won Best Actor that night, the consequences were significant. Will Smith was banned from the Oscars for 10 years by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. and his image as the perfect man was severely damaged in the eyes of the public. What made this story so controversial was this just a momentary emotional reaction to protect his family, or was it unacceptable behavior at a global event? Unlike many other names, Will Smith didn't lose everything, but he lost the most important thing: the absolute trust of his audience. And sometimes, it is those who seem infallible whose fall is more shocking than anyone else's. Thomas Gibson's story is a prime example of how sometimes it's not public scandals, but behind-the-scenes behavior that can end a career. He was once a familiar face to television viewers, especially through his role as Agent Aaron Hotchner in Criminal Minds. His image as a calm, rational leader made him a pillar of the series for many years, but then everything ended very abruptly. In 2016, Thomas Gibson was suspended and then officially fired from Criminal Minds after a conflict on set allegedly leading to violence against a crew member. This wasn't the first time he'd been accused of emotional control issues, making the situation even more serious. In a short time, an actor with a long-standing connection to the hit series was completely removed. His character was written out of the script, and his career stalled from then on, with no more major roles like before. What makes this story thought-provoking is that, in an industry that values professionalism, behavior behind the camera can be just as important or even more important than what appears on screen. Thomas Gibson wasn't involved in any public scandals, but just one incident behind the scenes was enough to cost him the position he had built over many years. Megan Fox's case is one of the most controversial. Many still disagree. Did she self-destruct her career, or was Hollywood turned its back on her? Megan Fox was once a beauty icon and a rapidly rising star after the success of Transformers. With her striking looks and powerful charisma, she was almost destined to become one of the leading actresses of the new generation. But then everything suddenly stalled. In an interview, Megan Fox compared director Michael Bay to a dictator, a shocking statement that plunged her into major controversy. Shortly after, she was dropped from the sequel to Transformers, Dark of the Moon. This incident quickly spread throughout the industry, and Megan Fox was labeled difficult to work with. As a result, major opportunities gradually disappeared. Although she did appear in some projects afterward, what makes this story particularly controversial was she punished for speaking her mind in a system that didn't accept it? Or was it her handling of the situation that derailed her career? In recent years, Megan Fox has gradually returned to a new image and is viewed more fairly. But it's undeniable that for a long period she was pushed out of a position she could have held. Sometimes, it's not talent that determines everything, but how you survive in an industry as powerful and ego-driven as Hollywood. Robert Blake's story is perhaps one of the most shocking cases, where the lines between personal life and career are almost completely blurred. He was once a veteran actor, highly regarded for decades, especially for his starring role in Beretta, a role that earned him an Emmy Award and solidified his position in American television. But then his life took an unexpected turn. In 2001, his wife was shot and killed outside a restaurant in Los Angeles. Robert Blake quickly became the prime suspect and was tried for murder, although he was later acquitted in the criminal trial. In a civil lawsuit, he was found responsible for his wife's death and ordered to pay a large sum in compensation. The incident nearly completely destroyed his public image. Following this scandal, Robert Blake's career was effectively over. No more big roles, no chance of a comeback, only a name tied to one of Hollywood's most controversial cases. What makes this story so haunting is that, while the law may deliver its verdict in the eyes of the public, a shattered reputation is almost impossible to repair. Robert Blake not only lost his career, but also the image he had built up his entire life. Stephen Collins, from TV fatherhood to shocking confessions. For years, he was a symbol of traditional American values. perfectly embodying the Reverend Eric Camden in Seventh Heaven. With warmth, patience, and morality, Collins led his family on screen, becoming a father figure that millions of viewers loved. It all came crashing down in 2014 when his horrific secrets were exposed. A recording from a 2012 therapy session with his ex-wife leaked, in which Collins admitted to years of abusive behavior. The news rocked Hollywood, shocking those who once idolized him. The fallout was swift and severe. The New York Police Department opened an investigation, and although Collins was not prosecuted due to the statute of limitations, public opinion almost unanimously condemned him. Collins' career ended almost immediately. Networks canceled reruns of Seventh Heaven, and he disappeared from the entertainment industry. In December 2014, in an interview with People, Collins admitted to inappropriate behavior with 3 people, clearing any doubts and cementing his complete downfall overnight. Stephen Collins went from America's favorite dad to one of Hollywood's most controversial and hated figures. Amber Heard's story is one of the most tumultuous and divisive scandals in modern Hollywood, where the public is almost divided into 2 camps. She was once a rising star with roles in Aquaman and many other major projects, gradually building an image as a glamorous actress and a voice on social issues. But then everything exploded around her relationship with Johnny Depp, from initial allegations of domestic violence. The story quickly escalated into a years-long legal battle, culminating in a globally shocking trial in 2022. Both sides made serious accusations, but ultimately, the jury largely sided with Johnny Depp in the defamation case. What were the consequences? Amber Heard faced a wave of intense criticism on social media, lost many career opportunities, and suffered serious damage to her image, although she did appear in the sequel to Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Her role was reportedly significantly reduced. What makes this story particularly controversial is that it's not just a personal scandal, but also touches on sensitive issues like domestic violence, the media, and the court of public opinion. Did Amber Heard destroy her own career, or was she a victim of a fierce media war? While opinions may differ, it's undeniable that this incident completely changed how the public perceives her, and potentially her career future for years to come. The spotlight can propel someone to the top, but it can also vanish in an instant. These stories aren't just about scandals or mistakes, they're about how a single decision, a single word, or even a moment of losing control can change an entire life. Reputation is hard to build, but incredibly easy to lose. And sometimes, what causes everything to fall apart isn't one big mistake, but a series of small choices leading to an irreversible outcome. The ultimate question remains: if you were in that position, would you do things differently, or would you make the same mistakes? Don't forget to subscribe to explore more hidden aspects behind a world everyone thinks is perfect.